Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I decided to jump on here real quick and do a real short video because Katie had done a video today about the Gypsy Rose family storyline, and she did it as a video on YouTube, her regular channel, in her regular format, regular way. This was not a live stream where she was off script or just rambling. Now, she says that she had a source for this. Don't know if that's true or not. That almost doesn't matter because she'll make it up if she doesn't have a source. And that's really what I want people that are coming into Katie Joy, learning about Katie Joy, new to them, coming from the Gypsy Rose part of YouTube. You may not know her as those of us in the anti-KJ community do. And she will make a video as she did today, and it may have a source. It might. It just as likely will not. And she will use and say whatever she wants to. And she feels because she has and says there's a source that she will not show, that she can say and do whatever she wants. There's no accountability for it having to be truthful. And that's what I really want you to understand as you listen to this. Also, I want to talk to you about the very real possibility that KJ doesn't know how to do critical thinking in any manner. So before we start the video, I just want to remind you that this is my opinions. This is for your entertainment. And I would like you to do your own research and go out and see what you think and what you find to be real. And I don't want you to send anyone that's mentioned in this video in any way any kind of hate or any kind of problems. Okay, so let's begin. Last night on Hello Starlight's channel, there was a confrontation that happened between KJ and Fancy Melli. This is Fancy on the screen. It's just real quick, but she made some really valid points, and I wanted to share them real quick because they do pertain to what I wanted to say today about KJ's video. So just listen to what Fancy has to say, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Now, I have several questions for you. One of those is could you please explain to me why in 2019, when we told you this on a podcast, that you decided to tell me I was absolutely crazy and then decided to reach out to Christy yourself and then decided to put my mugshots and call me a felon when you know I'm not? You're not doing any better today than you were then, Katie. You're sitting up here making defaming comments about Dee Dee that you have know nothing about. You still don't understand her medical records. You still don't understand how this family works. And because it absolutely was defamation of Dee Dee. There is no confirmation whatsoever. When I said that nobody in this is a reliable narrator, I wasn't fucking joking. That's where I'm at. And Katie's going to run around and try to pretend that she's telling the truth and that she's now on a truth quest, but yet you're still going to come out here and try to promote misinformation about Dee Dee when you have no way to prove what you just said.
KJ had been telling the audience that Dee Dee had mental illness, and Fancy was calling her out, saying, "You can't say that because you don't know that. You have no there is no information on that anywhere, and that you have no way to prove that." And then she said, which was the point of why I wanted to share this, that she was continuing to spread misinformation. Well, KJ has no problem with doing that. She does it all the time. But this is talking about Dee Dee, and it was defamation of Dee Dee, and it was misinformation. And that's what I wanted you to hear from this other place, because that's what I want to talk about now in the little clip here in Katie's video. So now I'll go ahead and jump over here to Katie's video, and she came on to tell us that she had a whole bunch of tea, And she had a source confiding in her, telling her all this. Source did not want to be known, but the source had shared a whole bunch of subjects and was talking about how awful it is at the Blanchard home, and that there's many reasons that perhaps Gypsy was going to have her parole revoked. So I want you to hear Katie's video on this.
Like the walls are caving in and Rod and Christy's marriage is floundering and he's not at the house anymore. Christy has had altercations with Gypsy where she's hit her, and there has been like fighting, like constant fighting about money, fighting about the pregnancy, fighting about keeping her under control, fighting about her going to school and getting a job, fighting about her being entitled and immature and lying and deceiving and constantly causing drama. This is what Christy wanted, but Rod didn't. Rod apparently did not want this. Like, Christy pushed this on him.
So here's KJ explaining what life is like down in Louisiana at the Blanchard's home. It sounds just awful. And she claims that the source told her all of that. And that's what we'll go with. The source shared this. But KJ is now putting it out to her 380 some thousand subscribers. So she's the one pumping it out into the world. And while all of this is going on, it also has an underlying current because Gypsy is being brought in for supposed violations of her parole. And so the fighting could be because of that or in lieu of that. But either way, that's all this fighting's going on, and she's being brought in, and KJ has cited from the source several reasons why Gypsy may be hauled in about a parole violation, and this is one of them. So let's listen to this.
So I can give you sort of a rundown of what they told me were some of the incidents, and they couldn't remember all of them, so I do apologize. But one specifically they said was that Gypsy has been staying too many nights in a row at Ken's house without permission from her parole officer, and that she was allowed to stay, I don't know, 3 or 4 nights at Ken's house. But the reason why she is not allowed to live with Ken is due to the fact that Ken has unresolved misdemeanor cases from the state of Texas in Austin, Texas, unresolved from 2014 and 2015, with no less than 5 of these cases having open fines that Ken owes to the court. And the cases aren't for anything major. It's like traffic citations, driving without insurance, failure to maintain liability insurance where he owes $331 to the court. So there was a failure to appear in 2013. There's with a fine of $223. There's another one for a failure to appear in June of 2014 with another fine of $223. He has no driver's license with a fine of $265 that hasn't been paid. And then he has another one for failure to appear from November 17th of 2010. And all of these have outstanding fines. And so because he has these unresolved cases in the state of Texas, he's not permitted for her to live with, and she's restricted to spending so many days with him at a time, according to the source. And that was one of her violations.
So this was one of, I'm not sure, 5 or 6 that she mentioned, but it's the one I want to share with you right now and talk about. So as she stated, the source shared with her that there's these violations, misdemeanor violations in Texas on Ken, and it's the reason that the Blanchard's house is filled with all of this contempt, because they're fighting and not getting along, and Gypsy's this wrecking ball, but she can't go live with Ken, And this is the reasons why. Source told her it's because of this misdemeanor, that misdemeanors that Ken has on his person. So now let's listen to this last part and then we'll talk about it.
And now this is where they're at, where Rod doesn't even want to be around Christy or Gypsy. And Christy and Gypsy are now stuck at a house fighting because Gypsy can't go stay at Ken's house because he has unpaid tickets and stuff in Texas. And Gypsy's at the parole office today, apparently waiting to decide if they're going to revoke her or not, and whether or not she's going to go back to prison. And then if she goes back to prison, they have absolutely no idea how they're going to spin it, but they know that the story is falling apart. So that's what I've got for now. What are your thoughts?
So this is what we're supposed to believe. We're either supposed to believe it out of the source's mouth or out of KJ's mouth. Well, ultimately, the buck stops with KJ, so we have to believe what she's saying. The Blanchards are breaking up. Rod is moved out of the house. His marriage with Christy is completely falling apart. Gypsy could be in violation of parole. As of this evening, there could be a warrant out to take her back to prison. All of this is going on. Lifetime's investment in this is on the line. All of this. And if you believe the source, if you believe KJ, it's under $1,500 in fines for these misdemeanors. That jumped out at me so blatant. You mean to tell me that they're going to let it all ride? No one would think, let's pay the fines if that's our problem. And Gypsy and Ken can live happily ever after in whatever apartment Gypsy can afford. And they can be happy. The marriage over at the Blanchards' house could be fine. And all of this could be gone away and Lifetime's investment would be protected. My thought here is, it hit me immediately. Wait, it's over. It's not the only thing was brought up. That's true. But this one thing alone truly could have fixed most of it because of the fighting that's going on. And if she doesn't have a safe place to live because of the fighting, and if it's causing the parents all this grief, $1,500. I would dare say Gypsy would have paid it immediately because she's a lovesick teenager that's basically a horn dog and just wants to be with her man. She would have paid it the first day if she knew that that's all it took. I think Christy or Rod would have paid it just to stop the fighting. And I believe there's even mention that the kids are upset about this. They might have ponied it up. And what about Lifetime? Nobody thought that they could pay the $1,500. So let's pretend none of them did. KJ is responsible for what she's spewing out there to the public. And she did a video, professional reporter here, and throws this misinformation. She has no way to know if it's true, doesn't care if it's true. She has a source. So she throws it out there, and wherever it lands. She does not take 2 seconds. Now, after everything we watched her this whole 2.5 weeks, she does not take a minute and stop and do any critical thinking. She just believes someone that is a source at face value and spews it out there. The integrity, the morals, KJ is absolutely deprived of either one of those. And this is just another small glimpse at the problem of who and what she is and having that large of a subscriber audience to spew her BS to. As I shared with you in my last video, I have another video that I'm doing that is a longer video, and it is more important. It's what I think really shows a lot about KJ and her personality, but that's yet to come. That was not this one. This one happened because KJ made her video this afternoon, and I was, oh my gosh. Okay, so we do not take a moment to think all by ourselves. Wait, this either is not true, or if it is true, why in the hell isn't somebody paying those fines? Which leads me to think none of it's true. That's my personal opinion, that this is not true. Now, of course, it could be that those were the fines as of those dates, which I think the most recent one was 2014 or something like that, that there could be added penalties and increased amount. And perhaps you could even hire an attorney to resolve that problem. So maybe we got to spend 5,000, some number. I still believe that Gypsy would have paid it happily, like really happily. I think so would Christy, and so would Rod. Even if it's a much worse scenario with the fines being larger, I still think that they would have paid it. But it doesn't change my thought process or my opinion here that KJ still should have done any kind of thinking about what she was being told, and she's taking this in from the source. Wait, that doesn't make any sense, and I'm just going to spew it anyway. She doesn't have the filter that all the rest of us would have. So anyway, I will see you all soon. Like I told you the other day, I have an upcoming video I'm working on, and that will be out shortly. And for tonight, it's thank you for coming by, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.